it should be visible to everyone. So in particular, we will take a look at how to notify substances under UK REACH to stay compliant. As a spoiler alert for the presentation, there is 94 days left until the first deadline. We will talk about the first deadline in more depth later on. Here with me today is Jana Trávníčková, our regulatory queen. Jana, can you hear us?
Yes, I can hear you.
Thank you.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen.
Thank you very much. Jana is connected from our office in Ostrava in the Czech Republic. So due to obvious reasons, we are connected from remote locations, from different locations, our services include full compliance services both in the EU as well as in the UK. So please don't hesitate to ask any questions, no matter on which side of the new border you are. Mama always said life was like a box of chocolates. You never know what you're gonna get. So what you are gonna get are the recordings of the webinar, the presentations from the webinar, and as I mentioned, our popular Q&A sheet. So whatever question you have, we will make sure that it is answered, if not live, then in the Q&A sheet, and it will be circulated after the webinar. And without any longer introduction, let's take a look what we want to cover today. I will start with some key facts about UK REACH, and then Jana will follow with a closer look at individual obligations, and in particular the notification obligation, including a brief overview of the new IT system which was developed in the UK for the notifications, so-called UK REACH IT. And then we will make sure to leave some significant time for your questions. We already got 15 or 20 of them, so we have a lot to cover. And I'm sure that more will be coming from your side. So once again, please don't hesitate to ask either through the Q&As window or raise your hand to ask directly live. So as you all know, the Brexit transition period has ended. So after some last-minute negotiation efforts in the UK and in the EU, it was sealed. So all changes apply since 1st January of 2021, which effectively means that if you are trading in the EU as well as in the UK, you have double obligations now under those two jurisdictions. And the key obligations arising from UK REACH is that UK traders, manufacturers, importers, anybody who wants to place chemicals on the UK market needs to register his chemicals once again, just as it was done in the EU. And there are some transitional provisions which allow you to benefit from, let's say, better conditions or at least longer deadlines. So if you already were holding EU registrations or you are buying chemicals from EU registered sources, EU registered suppliers, you still have quite some time to do all your homework and stay compliant in the UK. As I mentioned, we will take a closer look at those, especially Jana will. Two key facts that I wanted to outline here is that to benefit from these transitional provisions of UK notifications, no fees are envisaged. So the UK authorities haven't introduced any fees for UK notifications. But on the other hand, you still need to appoint an only representative if you are coming from the EU or if you are coming from any other third country. So if you are not based in the UK, you need to appoint an only representative to stay compliant and to fulfill your obligations. I also provided you here with the link to the legal text of UK REACH, so you can access it at any time. And the key obligation under UK REACH registration has set 3 deadlines. One comes in 3 years. The first one comes in 3 years in 2023. The second one in 2025, and the third one in 2027. And these are the deadlines for submitting a full UK REACH registration. But before that, you can submit simplified package of information under the so-called notification process, which has two deadlines. One is for the manufacturers, so existing EU REACH registration holders based in the UK. The first deadline is 30 April 2021. And the second deadline is applicable to those who are buying directly or indirectly from the EU, from registered suppliers. And that deadline is 27 October 2021. We were covering different scenarios, typical scenarios in the supply chain. So if you are based in the UK buying from EU, or if you are based in the EU selling to UK, if you are based in third countries, etc. We were covering all these typical scenarios in our previous webinar. You have a link here to watch it again if you need to, or if you haven't seen it. And it covers also the question what to do if you are trading with, for example, Northern Ireland. So feel free to watch it if you have any questions concerning your particular supply chain. And as I mentioned, we want to focus especially on the notification process today. So I'm almost done with my introduction before leaving the floor to Jana. I just wanted to highlight that although the UK REACH notification process maybe was pictured by some as a similar process to EU REACH pre-registration, it is not quite like that because there are significantly higher information requirements, especially on the substance identity, where you need to provide also analytical data and a few more pieces of information about your company on top of that. So I think it's perfect time now to let you speak, Jana. One last thing before we do that, I would like to ask the audience what is their current situation if you are considering notification under UK REACH, if you already have notified your substances, or if you are planning to, please, if you can vote in the poll that should appear on the screen. And I will stop sharing in the meantime, and Jana can start. Okay, ready? Can I close the poll now and let you speak, Jana?
Yes, of course, why not? I'm ready.
Okay, let's go.
Thank you very much. So can I share my screen?
Yes, please.
But I think that you have to stop. Yes, thank you. So I hope that you can see my screen.
Perfectly.
Thank you for confirmation. So Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. I would like to thank you that you stay with us. And as Tomáš said, I will tell you something, or I will speak about the practical point of view of UK registration or UK REACH registration. And but I think that the most important news or thing is that UK REACH reflects our European Union REACH regulation in 100%. Or 99%. So it's very good news because the procedures are the same or similar, and as well use the guidances or manuals. Because if you watch not ECHA websites but EHC websites, there is a lot of or there are a lot of links which are connected directly with ECHA websites. So my presentation is divided in 3 parts. In the first part, I would like to not introduce, but tell you something about UK REACH roles. In the second part, in the main part, I will focus on registration under UK REACH, considering grandfathering, as Tomáš said, and the downstream user import notification and new registration. In the last part, I will show you how to comply with UK REACH IT service. So it means with UK REACH IT system. So the first part, the roles defined by UK REACH are nearly similar to European or EU REACH, and but small difference is in definition of downstream users, because now if you are based in Great Britain and you import goods from European Union, you can be importer or downstream user as well. And if you were before downstream user of your EU-based supplier, now you become importer under UK REACH, who were downstream user under EU REACH. So there are examples of downstream users or companies which can be downstream users. On second slide, you can see other roles defined by UK REACH. So it's a well-known only representative. As Tomáš said, only representative has to be Great Britain-based company that fulfills the obligations of Great Britain-based importers. Also, there are distributors and formulators and third-party representative. This role is also well known or defined under EU REACH, and the third-party representative can be appointed as well by manufacturer, importer, or even a downstream user, and these companies can remain anonymous. So it means that it's companies like our company. We are consultants, so we can be a third-party representative and only a representative as well, because we have the company in Great Britain. So now the most important part is registration under UK REACH. So if you intend to import your goods or your chemical substances and place them on a Great Britain market, you have to submit or collect the information on the properties and uses of substances above 1 ton per year. It remains still the same, this limit. And registration under UK REACH applies to substances on their own, substances in mixtures. So it means in formulated products, and substances in articles in limited cases, because it can be still the same with or similar to EU REACH, that substances which can be released from article have to be registered. As well, also under UK REACH, there are defined the exemptions, which are partially or complete exempted from REACH registration requirements. So it means that these substances are regulated by other legislation, for instance, medicine or radioactive substances. The principle that can, from EU REACH, one substance, one registration also remains the same, and you can also use or be part of joint submission registration, or you can also submit a new registration covered by UK REACH. So it's very important to know that the new registration are charged, and you can find fees and charge on EHC websites. I think that on my last part of my last part of this presentation, I will show you these websites and also how to find fees and charge. If you would like to import, so the first step is grandfathering. So as Tomáš said, if you were EU REACH registration holder, you can grandfather your registration, but within 120 days of the end of the transition period, you have to open an account on the new UK REACH IT system. So it calls comply with UK REACH, how I said before. And you have to provide some initial information about existing registration. So it means that you have to provide with ECHA registration number, the registration data assigned by ECHA. So it means if there were data sharing disputes decision or inquiries decision and so on. Also, you have to identify a registrant. It means that you have to identify your company according to Article 10, Paragraph A under of REACH, UK REACH regulation. After that, you have to identify your substance. You can use known identifier, so it means CAS number, EC number, and analytical data, as Tomáš mentioned before. You have to provide information on manufacture and use of the substance according to Article 10, Paragraph A, number 3, and as well the relevant information on manufacture and use reviewed by an assessor. And you also can attach notification of ECHA decision related to existing registration. Within 2, 4, or 6 years plus 300 days of the end of transition period, you have to comply with the full information requirements for the tonnage band according to table which that Tomáš mentioned before. So if you would like to place intermediates on the Great Britain market and you are still EU REACH holders, registration holders, so you have to within 120 days of the end of the transition period again open an account on the REACH, UK REACH IT system and provide some initial information about existing registration. It remains the same. It is still the same for each grandfathered registration. So if you import on-site isolated intermediates, you have to provide with information referred in Article 17 and the confirmation referred in this article as well. If you import or if you would like to register transport isolated intermediates, you have to provide with information referred to in Article 18 and as well the confirmation which referred as well to this article. Within 2, 4, or 6 years plus 300 days of the end of the transition period, you have to comply again with the full information requirements according to Article 17 or 18. You have to notify or submit the classification of the intermediates and add all available existing information on physical chemical properties, human health, and environmental properties according to Article 17 or 18. And you also can provide with the additional information on physical chemical properties, human health, and environmental properties, which are specified in Annex 7. So now I would like to speak about downstream user import notification. So if you would like to continue to import with importing your goods in a UK, you have to submit the registration to ECHA. Not ECHA, I'm sorry, it's a habit. You have to submit a registration to HCE agency for the substance in a tonnage above 1 ton per year. So you have to register the substances imported from the European Union, it's obvious. And you have to submit registration within the first 300 days of the end of the transition period up to 6 years. This obligation or registration obligation is applied for a Great Britain-based legal entity importing substances and mixtures into Great Britain from the European Union, and also from outside of the European Union under an only representative agreement. And its registration obligation is applied also for manufacturers, formulators, and article producers based outside of Great Britain. All required information or more details about this register or this procedure you can find in Article 127E of the statutory instrument. So, as I said before, this notification has to be made within 300 days, and it's important to know that downstream user import notification is not a pre-registration, but the condition remains the same. So in a case, if you pre-registered your substance under EU REACH, you don't have to didn't have to register the substance. There is no obligation and it remains the same. So you can submit your downstream user import notification, but if you don't want to continue with importing your chemicals on Great Britain, so you don't have to complete the registration. So what is necessary to do? It's still the same. So you have to open an account in a UK REACH IT service, and after submitting all relevant information, after submitting all relevant information, the UK REACH downstream user import notification number will be issued to you. This notification or this first step covers all substances intending to be placed on the Great Britain market. Also, you can use a spreadsheet, which is available on EHC websites, and you can fulfill a substance name, a CAS number or identifiers, and also the other required information. So it is possible to use safety data sheets as a source of this relevant information. And after the completion of this spreadsheet, you can send it to ECHA, to agency at the UK REACH downstream user notification at EHC Government UK. After that, you have the obligation to submit or to comply with full registration. And as well, you can also submit new registration covered by UK REACH. In case that you would like to, or if you manufacture or import new substance in Great Britain which hasn't been registered, so you have to apply or submit new registration covered by UK REACH. So this obligation is applied for Great Britain-based companies which manufacture or import a substance into Great Britain at or above 1 ton per year. It is also applied for Great Britain-based companies that have submitted a registration dossier under EU REACH, but didn't receive registration number prior to the date of exit. and for EU-based companies intending to appoint a Great Britain-based only representative. After that, you have to complete the registration required prior to the manufacture or import into Great Britain. This rules is still similar to EU REACH, so you have to submit a registration before placing the chemical substance on the market. All information are mentioned in Article 127E, and you can, yes, it's still the same. So you have to register substance or mixtures imported from the EU or non-EU under only representative agreement. If you have experience with EU registration, EU REACH registration, so this procedure will, so you will be familiar with this procedure because it's still the same. The first step is that you have to submit your inquiry according to Article 26, and there are no provisions for pre-registration under UK REACH, as Tomáš said as well. So it's good to know, so it's very important to know that pre-registration previously submitted to ECHA are no longer valid in Great Britain. But if I think that you know that pre-registration will be valid only until the end of 2019. Now you have to as well submit your inquiry under EU REACH. So you have to prepare, so you will prepare your the inquiry dossier. You will use Euclid 6, a software or system or a tool. There is also on EHC websites, there is a direct link to a website focused on Euclid 6 on ECHA website. After the submission, you will receive the inquiry number. After that, you can register, you can submit your registration jointly, and this new registration will be submitted by each legal entity in case of a new registration. You also have to pay appropriate registration fees, so you can find directly the link in this part. And there are also two options. If the registration previously hasn't been submitted under EU REACH, or if the registration has been previously submitted under EU REACH. Because UK REACH reflects our own REACH regulation, so there is the exemption for substances used for research and development purposes. So it's in most cases these substances are used in quantities of less than 1 ton per year, and because there is no duty to register under UK REACH. But you can submit, but not submit, but you can apply for exemption for 5 years for your substance which is used, or that is used for under P-port regime. So, and if you submit, or if you are EU REACH P-port exemption holder, you can recognize this your submission, and you can also can apply for new P-port exemption under UK REACH. If you would like to use or grandfather your EU REACH P-port, so the principle remains the same. You have to, within 120 days of the end of transition period, you have to notify EHC of the relevant information mentioned in Article 9 of REACH regulation. So it means that you have to identify a manufacturer, importer, or producer of articles. You have to identify the substance and provide with classification of this substance and with estimated quantities, and also you have to submit or add the list of customer customers refer to in paragraph 1, including their names and addresses. So there is a difference from EU REACH obligation. If you would like to apply for this exemption in EU REACH, according to EU REACH, you also have to submit or describe the research and development purpose. After the submission of this required information, you notify EHC of the number and notification date assigned by ECHA. And after that, you'll supply EHC with copies of any additional necessary information given by ECHA. After that, you send all this information via email. And it's very important to know that the grandfathered exemption will expire on the day that the exemption granted under EU REACH would have expired. So this procedure is not charged; it's free of charge. And if you fulfill or if you follow all conditions, you can apply for extension under UK REACH of your current exemption. If you would like to submit a new P-port exemption, so the procedure remains the same, like like submitting this exemption under EU REACH. You also have to provide with information on the substance identity, the classification, information related to P-port program, and the quantity of substance expected to be manufactured or imported. And after that, you have to pay for this submission. And the last part of my presentation is how to comply with UK REACH. So to be honest, I like UK REACH IT system because it's very user friendly, and the environmental space is very nice. There, I will show you it in a few minutes. So there are useful links which can use for login in new REACH IT system. So I will show you it because I tried to prepare. So now you can see the environment of UK REACH IT system. So, but if you don't know how to find it, so there is a homepage of EHC agency, and I use always this link that UK has left the EU and that new rules are applied. Here you can find the part dedicated to chemical industry and the safe management of chemicals. There, click on REACH link, and there is part dedicated to explanation of UK REACH. Now, and there is a part dedicated to using to comply with UK REACH service. After that, you click on this link, and it will follow you to the home page. We have one question related to this topic. So it was I don't know who, but the question was if it is possible to submit I6Z file directly by this system, and it is possible. So you can submit your downstream user import notification, it is mentioned here, or you can submit your downstream user report. So it's up to you, and it's very easy because you only click on choose your file and click on continue, and you submit your Euclid dossier. So I think that it's maybe everything from my side, but if you want, you can look in this REACH IT system, and if you visit EHC websites, there is a manual how to create your own account and also parent accounts if you are only representative for manufacturing and you have a lot of affiliates, and you can also create child account. it's a very sensitive, I think, and user friendly. So there is a help desk or helpline, and you can call them, and they will provide you with or needed advice. So, and here is a number. So I think that's everything from my side. And so we can continue and focus on the questions.
Perfect. Thank you, Jana.
You're welcome, Tomáš.
I was quite busy reading through all the questions that we got from the questions and answers panel. Thank you for these. I saw that you also covered some of them directly in your speech. So we will try to cover some more, especially those that were not directly linked to what was in the presentation. Before we go to the questions and answers, just let me summarize and also provide a few more useful links that everybody can use, starting with the official UK government websites. You already mentioned those as well, and then I have my favorite list of 5 sources to follow. All these agencies and associations, for example, Chemical Watch, all these websites not only have really useful summaries and informations, but also are publishing various guidances or practical tips, or even templates to comply with UK REACH, as well as EU REACH after Brexit. I think the take-home message from this webinar is clear. Whoever can should take advantage of the notification process, and if you are eligible for this simplified procedure, I think the best way to stay compliant is to notify, to have longer transitional period for submitting the full registrations. And next week we also want to cover Brexit from the EU perspective. So what Brexit imposed on EU manufacturers, EU traders who are trading with the UK. Of course, it's closely interlinked, and we already touched several questions like that, and we will also be covering them in the questions and answers. We still have the Don't Panic button active 24/7, and please don't hesitate to ask us also after the webinar if you need any further information, if there's any help you might need. And I will now switch to my sheet with the questions. I tried to structure them according to the topic, and I will try to start with the not the easiest ones, but the ones which can be answered with a short answer. First question on UK REACH IT, if the electronic data are IUCLID compatible. Jana, you mentioned that they are.
Yes, exactly.
Right?
Exactly, because you use the same IT tool.
Great. Thank you for that. Then concerning the notification process, a question from Eric. Do I understand correctly that grandfathering is open to UK-based EU REACH registrants only? Let's not get confused in the terminology concerning grandfathering and notification. Grandfathering was done automatically. All the substances which were registered by UK-based, by Great Britain-based entities, Great Britain-based companies in the past 2 or 3 years. I have the precise time span here. Between 29 March 2017 and December 2020, all such registrations, EU registrations, were automatically grandfathered. So basically now you are covered automatically if you had in the past 3 years an an existing EU registration. But then the notification and the full registration process is available only to Great Britain-based companies. That's correct, Eric. So if you want to stay compliant past the transitional period until end of April or end of August, if you want to stay compliant after that, you need to be either Great Britain-based, or you need to appoint an only representative. I hope it was clear. If not, please ask additional question for clarification, and we will come back to that. Another question we have from Nuria concerning analytical data. Analytical data available for EU REACH registration is valid for the downstream user notification as well? Question to that from my side would be yes. Jana?
Yes, I agree with you.
So the information requirements and the testing methods, the substance identification methods or requirements are completely the same. Nothing changed there.
Yes, exactly, because the UK REACH reflects EU REACH, and also ECHA agency has recommended the analytical methods which you can use for your substance identification, and it remains the same because analytical chemistry doesn't change after Brexit.
Yeah, nicely said. Okay, we move on to some supply chain questions and supply chain scenarios concerning distributors. A question from Charlotte. What are the obligations of a distributor who sells products registered in the EU and who wants to go on with its business in the UK? I already touched this. If you want to stay compliant, you have to do the registration. And you can do that either through your Great Britain-based entity, if you have a local branch, or if you are manufacturing. But in case of distributors, it means that you are buying from the EU and then distributing in Great Britain, if my understanding is correct, what you mean by distributor. So in that case, you become an importer. So if you are the first entity who buys imports directly from the EU, you become an importer. And then if you distribute it to other companies in the UK, you are in terms of UK REACH, you are not a distributor but importer. So as an importer, you need to register your substances. Linked with that, a question from Rashmi: if distributors can appoint an only representative in Great Britain, again, if you mean that as a distributor, you are the first one buying from the EU, so you become an importer, you cannot appoint an only representative because you are directly based in Great Britain. So in that case, you would become an importer. But if you mean EU distributors, that's a tricky question. So let's imagine that there is a manufacturer anywhere in the world. You buy from them. You are based in the EU and you are a distributor in the EU and selling some of the products, some of the chemicals to UK. So from the UK perspective, the importer would be your customer in Great Britain. So he would have obligations to register under UK REACH. And in theory, you can appoint an only representative to do these registrations for him. But why I said it's a tricky question is because you need to have all the information about the chemicals. So in theory, only the manufacturers can appoint only representatives. And in practice, it often is so that as a distributor, you buy from a manufacturer and he doesn't tell you everything about the formulation, about the chemical. He doesn't give you all the data because it's a trade secret. So as long as you have all the data, like degree of purity, all the impurities defined, details about the manufacturing process, then in theory you can appoint an only representative and register yourself. But it really depends on what level of information you are able to get from your manufacturer. Okay, back to some more straightforward questions, or questions with more straightforward answers. One from Andre concerning restrictions and authorizations. If the substance is under authorization in the EU, does the same restriction apply in UK REACH? In general, restrictions are 100% mirroring EU REACH, so restrictions are completely the same. And in foreseeable future, it should remain so, but the UK, since they have their own legislation, they now have privilege to deviate in future from EU registrations. So it's good to follow EU restrictions list as well as the UK restrictions list. And concerning authorizations, Jana briefly mentioned that the existing authorizations are valid in the UK, also after Brexit. Mm-hmm. If you are using substances from suppliers who are holding an existing EU authorizations, you can happily keep using them in the UK under the same conditions. If you want to buy from a new authorization holder who has not yet submitted an application for authorization, you need to authorize yourself or wait until he authorizes in the UK. So existing authorizations are basically transferred or recognized in the UK, new ones not. Simple answer. Mm-hmm. Okay, questions keep piling up. Was there anything, Jana, you wanted to answer that struck your eyes, or should I just continue?
You can continue. I will go through the questions. So we can continue, Tomáš, please go on.
Okay. One question concerning full registration from Natasha. I have grandfathered our registration. Congratulations, first of all, because that's a big step. So my understanding of this claim is that you submitted your dossier, as you mentioned in the following text. I have only submitted the original dossier. Is this the right thing to do, or do I have to amend the dossier before submitting it? It's not a matter of how you submitted it. So if you submitted a complete registration dossier, which includes all information that is required for the full registration, you are done. You don't need to update anything. Okay, compatibility with IUCLID files, where we covered that. Carlo is asking, does the concept of strictly controlled conditions for the intermediates apply to the UK REACH regulation in the same way as in the EU? Yes, it does. Mm-hmm. Same definition, same conditions. One question from Mark concerning recovered solvents. Will import of recovered solvents from the UK into EU now, after Brexit, be seen under REACH as import from outside EU, which needs a registration and an EU-based only representative or local representative? Will it be under a different regulation since it's more ecological, smaller carbon footprint than generation of virgin material? I have to say, out of the top of my head, I don't know the answer. I would have to dig a little deeper and give it some thought. So we will come back to that. Question from Wilco: are there exceptions like EU REACH Annex 5? Yes, 100% mirroring, same exemptions. We still have 5-6 minutes left, so let's go through some more questions. One from Anuradha regarding EU REACH registrations after Brexit. Can we continue to sell EU customers? We have transferred EU REACH to EU country, but haven't got UK REACH yet. Does transferring in readiness to Brexit mean that we have lost REACH to EU now? Or can we continue supplying EU customers for now? So if you are saying that you have transferred your registrations to EU REACH country, to EU 27 country, then yes, you can sell to EU customers happily. Maybe one more note to that. We would need to know exactly the arrangement that you now have, because if the holder of the EU registration is an EU-based company, you either have to be selling through that company, or you have to appoint that company as your only representative. So this company that you transferred the registration to needs to be either direct importer, so you would directly be selling your products through them, or you need to appoint them as your only representative. Speaking of which, only representative question from Elsa. Can the Great Britain-based only representative be appointed by an EU distributor, not the manufacturer? We already covered that above. So yes, with some reservations, with some conditions. Okay, I think I will be able to cover what I still have here. I will not be able to cover what we got in the questions and answers panel in the last 10 or 15 minutes, but we will get back to that after the webinar. So last questions, supply chain question from David. If we have two divisions of the same company, can we register with the UK REACH under each division? Or can we only have one registration? The two divisions have the same VAT number. So of course you can register, you can do two registrations. That is perfectly valid, and that is the perfectly legitimate and safe way to retain compliance. To be able to do the registration only under one entity depends on the supply chain again. So if the one entity would be acting as the importer and then selling the goods to the other one, then it would be perfectly valid as well, because the other one would be downstream user then. If you want to be directly importing and having only a single registration, that is definitely tricky and probably not valid. Definitely not valid if the two entities are separate legal entities. Under some jurisdictions, for example, in the Czech Republic, we were dealing with the same issue, and even though two companies were sharing the same VAT number, they still had two different business registry entries, so they were considered two separate legal entities, meaning they needed to have two separate registrations. But this is not dealing with REACH or UK REACH itself. This is concerning national legislation in the UK and tax legislation, business laws. Question from Alessio: why the registration obligations applied for formulators based outside of GB? This is not true. UK REACH does not apply to non-GB legal entities. Non-GB company is free to decide to appoint a GB only representative, but it is not an illegal obligation. I perfectly agree with that. UK REACH only applies in the UK. to be more precise, in Great Britain, so without Northern Ireland, according to the deal with the EU. So Alessio, you are perfectly right there. Companies outside the UK, outside Great Britain, don't have any obligation to appoint an only representative, but if they want to be selling to the UK, they either need to persuade their customers in the UK, sorry, in Great Britain, to do the registration, or they need to appoint an only representative. Those are the two ways to the Great Britain market for non-Great Britain companies. And very briefly, two questions on costs and fees. One from Volker. For existing EU registrations, will there be any additional cost for data to get compliant to UK REACH? Cost structure under UK REACH. No fee for notification, but fee for registration. Jana mentioned, and I think you also provided a link to information about future fees under UK REACH for registration, right?
Mm-hmm, exactly. I can share my screen if you want, because I have this page.
I think it's not necessary.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Again.
Mm-hmm.
And third additional cost is access to data, and that is purely business between the co-registrant and the data holders. So I know that there are some consortia or groups of registration holders who said that automatically they will give basically free access to existing EU registrants if they want to use the existing data for UK REACH, because they consider that UK was part of the EU, and even they are out now, the territory where this data should be valid doesn't change. But there are also some consortia and some data holders who say, in our agreements, we always had that these data can only be used for EU REACH, and if you want to use this data under UK REACH, you have to pay extra. So it's really case by case, and you need to negotiate with the data holders. We can, of course, give you some advice, or maybe it's a good topic for one of the future webinars, data sharing and how this all changed and was affected by Brexit. There are lots of questions we are getting on this. Last question from Jeff. I'm in the UK. Who needs to register with REACH? Domestic shippers and exporters. How do I join? What are the costs? How often do I pay? I believe we covered basically all these questions, but we will also cover it once again in writing when we are answering the questions in our Q&A sheet. Okay, we are 1 minute late. Could be worse. So thank you very much for your attention. We will make sure to answer all the questions, and don't hesitate to ask more, or don't hesitate to ask for help if we can do anything for you. Thank you, and thank you, Jana, very much.
Thank you, Tomáš, as well. Thank you. So goodbye. Have a nice day. Goodbye.